Okay, so we've gotten a model all the way into Pike and Shot, and now let's talk about what Pike and Shot did the moment we started up the game. All we did was create this S3F file, but when the game starts up, it goes through here and finds all the S3Fs and compresses them and creates an S4F. This is the only thing you have to share with your friends or with people online if you want to share your module. It's a compressed 3D model. I haven't found a way to open this or read it. It's some sort of proprietary file format. But if we ever go and make edits to our infantry guy and re-export him using the button and create a new S3F and overwrite this S3F, make sure to delete this, because I think when you start the game the next time, if there's already an S4F, it's not going to use your new updated model and overwrite the S4F. So you have to always make sure that if you're making edits, delete that S4F. Next step is, let's talk about emitters. I mentioned it in the first video. A lot of these models have emitters. So when a guy shoots in the game, the program in the background will create effects at the location of these emitters, but it all depends on how the emitter is named. So this emitter that's on the tip of this guy's gun has the name !0. So I think Battle Academy and even Pike and Shot, what that emitter does, I think the way the emitters work is 0 is always the same type of emitter. It will shoot like this little blue bullet out of there towards the target. Now, I'm going to open up a different model. This is one of the example models, the Churchill tank. And you can see this one has a lot of different emitters on it. I'm going to expand all. So I right-clicked and I clicked expand all. This is actually a much simpler model. There's no skeleton. But, alright. This is an emitter on the tip of the turret, and you can see it has the exact same naming. It's #!0. This is where a little blue bullet will fly out from. This emitter, you can see, is 01. I'm not sure what that does. It might be a machine gun. This one is emitter 07. And you can see on the bottom, I don't know what that one does either. It might be just different locations for different things. On the bottom of the tank, there's the emitter here, which is 03, and here, which is 02. One of these, I'm not sure which, shoots out exhaust in the game. Actually, let's check this out. So, on these TXT files which describe the model, let's open this up. This is the animations it's playing from frames 0 to 16 while it's waiting. But these are often calling the emitter. And I think I described it wrong in the first video. I think the way this works is this first number is the timer. So at what frame the certain effects gets played or triggered. And this is what emitter number. So this is a Pike and Shot model. I know, and I don't have an example to show you, but there are examples that they can give you if you ask the developers. Number 13 is a little emitter that's on the bottom of the model's feet. So similar to this one. And it shoots out dust while the guy moves. And I think it shoots out a puff of dust from emitter 13 on frame 0, frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4, all the way to frame 9. Every time it's just triggering this emitter, which is 13. I think the game itself has it programmed of what actually shoots out of there. This is specifically for Pike and Shot. So here's where it gets a tiny bit tricky. In Battle Academy, their naming convention, all of their they have emitter 0, and look very closely. Their emitter that's number 1 is actually 0, 1. And their emitter number 2 is 0, 2. But I think the developers in Pike and Shot, when they're shooting out those little puffs of smoke, they labeled their emitter number 1 as like that. No 0 in front of it. And then this is the second emitter. So if you look at this text file, when in a Pike and Shot model shoots its gun, so this is under fire, at frame 0 and frame 1 it triggers emitter 1 and triggers emitter number 2, and that just lets out the puff of smoke. But it's very important, there's no 0 in front of the number of both of these emitters. So for example, if I went back to my infantry guy and just cloned this, I'm just going to copy it and just call it number 1. And let's say I move that out a little bit. This is the button that you can use to drag stuff. You can see there's a little green arrow and a red arrow. If you click on one of these, you can move it along that axis. So let's move this out a little bit. So in the game, this would, when the guy shoots, a little puff of smoke would come out of this emitter. I'm not going to make a number 2. I'm not sure if you need both number 1 and number 2 and it looks for the distance between the two to do the emitter, or if it's just shooting out a puff of smoke here and shooting out a puff of smoke there. Anyway, that's how this is how they trigger emitters in the game, with this little line. I think this is the frame number and this is the number of the emitter, and they're very specific to each game system. As you can see, Battle Academy has certain specific numbered ones that the game engine itself, it's programmed what each emitter will shoot out. And Pike and Shot use the number 1, not 01, which makes a difference, and the number 2, not 02, which makes a difference. And I think they use number 13 under the people's feet, and I think they use either 12 or 14, which might be like the difference between horses or people on foot. I'm not sure. I have to get more information on that. Alright, so that's sort of how emitters work, going over it a little bit. Now lastly, you probably have questions on how do I make the model look different. Alright, so if you want to edit these textures, because this is how the models look in-game, you can see that they are DDS files. Well, how do you edit those? You can download this program called GIMP, which is free. It's a graphics editing program. And you can get a plugin that's also free that enables you to edit DDSs. Here's the website. It is a plugin for GIMP that allows you to edit and save direct draw surface format. So I have Windows, so I downloaded this into my downloads folder. I unzipped, in here is just a simple dds.exe. What we want to do is extract that into this folder. Where is it? Library, GIMP 2.0, plugins. So I'm just going to simply drag this into this folder and replace it. Next time I start up GIMP, it will be in there, and so it's taking longer, you can tell, to start up. And now I can just open that type of file. So documents, my games, Pike and Shot campaigns, and it's in unit textures. And let's see, what do the gendarmes look like? And here's your file. So this gray and light gray checkerboard pattern means that that's see-through. So like that will not show up at all. But if you want to change the color of these gendarmes, you can replace all the yellow with, I don't know, purple or something. And then save that down, and that's how you amend how your units are actually going to look like. You can tell this does not have very much detail. We can stop there for now.